Hello and welcome back. This is Poncho Smith, and you are watching episode 6 of the Her Lullaby Let's Read. So picking up where we left off, we followed Lori's descent into homicidal madness in Remember 1. We are now going to hop right into Remember 2. We humans create a lot of bad energy. We do it constantly. Every time we hurt one another, it flows out of our bodies, through the air, and into the souls of everyone around us. When they absorb it, it inspires them to do evil themselves, creating even more bad energy. It's a cycle. Humans hurt each other, which makes us hurt each other, which makes us hurt each other, and so on. The energy is all around us. Humans are always making more. Don't misunderstand me, though. The energy doesn't do anything on its own. Humans don't hurt each other because of ethereal spectral forces. Humans hurt each other because it's in our nature to do so. All the energy does is make it harder for us to deny our true selves. This limitless energy isn't distributed evenly. In some places, it's barely there at all. In others, it's suffocatingly dense. Why isn't it spread out around equally? Well, look at gravity. Large masses bend the curve of space-time, forming gravity wells that attract other masses. It seems arbitrary, but it's just how the world works. It makes perfect sense to me that certain locations would attract our bad energy the same way. Like, perhaps, the basement of an abandoned warehouse. Don't ask me how I know all of this, because I don't. It's just a little theory I have for why my magical place might exist. Maybe it's just a ghost, who can say? All I know is that the more time I spend in my magical place, the more in tune I become with my desires. Killing people there forces me to be honest about my real nature, because that's what my magical place does. It doesn't make me hurt people, it just draws out what's already inside me. Humans are evil, obviously, but here's what I didn't understand for the longest time. Humans are supposed to be evil. And I am the most authentic human you will ever meet. Oh, we got some choices here. Let's find out what happened after that previous incident with Lori. I wasn't caught for murdering the first girl, which still surprises me. I wasn't rational on my way back to my car. If I'd run into anyone on the way back down the trail, I'd have trouble explaining all the blood all over my hands and hiking boots. I rinsed my hands in a faucet at the trail's entrance. I put my boots and socks in a plastic trash bag I had in my car, tied it off, and shoved it under the seat. A few days later, the police officers called me in for questioning relating to the girl's disappearance. They heard I was on a date with her the day she disappeared. I recited my prepared alibi. We went to see the new superhero movie at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and separated immediately afterwards, and answered a handful of their questions. They never called me back in. I was bewildered. I should have been a primary suspect, and yet no one seemed to distrust me at all. I later found out that her parents had essentially called off the search. They told the cops that their daughter often disappeared for weeks or months at a time. They said she wasn't worth wasting resources on. I guess the cops agreed. It seemed that I'd gotten away with it. A month later, I returned to my magical place. I found where the overgrown road met with the main highway, which meant I could park much closer to the warehouse. From there, it was only a 10-minute walk, much nicer than having to hike several miles down the trail. I wore my blood-stained hiking boots. I carried a shovel. The girl was there in the basement, right where I'd left her. She was dead, obviously. The smell was overwhelming. So was the static in my head. I felt so angry at no one in particular. I looked down at the pocket knife stuck in the corpse's gut. I considered taking it out and stabbing it into my chest. I didn't. Instead, I heaved the corpse over my shoulders and took it upstairs and out behind the warehouse. I buried it there and did my best to smooth over the disturbed dirt. I hated the idea of the girl's corpse stinking up my magical place. It was special to me. I was already forming plans for returning to it with new guests. It wouldn't be long until they came to fruition. How many more? Not counting Toko and Sal or my first unintended victim, I brought 7 girls into the basement over the last year. I was much more careful than I was the first time. I had no connection with any of them outside of living in the same town, or if I did, I at least made sure that no one else knew about it. I cleaned up after myself better, burying the bodies immediately and washing away the blood. I knew I wasn't covering my tracks perfectly, and that there was a significant chance that I'd eventually get caught. I accepted that possibility. The worst that could happen is that I'd be in prison for the rest of my life, and if I really didn't want that, I could always just kill myself. So, 7 victims. Each of them I knocked out with an injected tranquilizer stuffed into a duffel bag and brought them to my magical place. After the long drive and the short but exhausting walk, I take them out of the bag and prop them up against the wall in the basement. I'd lay a knife on the ground next to them, and I just sit across the room from them and wait. You don't realize how easy it is to buy a gun until you actually do it. It's so easy. I'd keep mine hidden in my lap under my hands. Eventually, they'd wake up, they'd look around themselves, seeing me, the basement, the knife. They'd ask me what was going on. I'd say nothing. They'd get angry. Maybe they tried the door. Usually, they'd just rush me with the knife. Then I'd shoot them. None of them died right away. They'd fall over, grabbing at the wound with their hand. From there, I'd vary things from victim to victim. With the first 2, I just walked up and shot them in the head. The one after that, I tortured with the knife, just to see how it felt. The other 4, I sat still as they bled out. I watched their consciousness, their lives, their futures, oozing away into the cracks in the floor. Toko. I've been dating Toko for 6 months now. I really like her. I care about her as much as it's possible for a human to care about someone, which isn't much, granted. She does not know I've been killing people. I've decided that I want to see Toko at her most human. I want to see her like me. I want her to be in touch with her truest self. So like all my other victims, I tranquilized her after she fell asleep. Unlike the others, I didn't have to sneak in to kidnap her. She happily drifted off to sleep in my arms, not suspecting what was next. I stuffed her unconscious body into a large empty duffel bag and dragged her out to my car. This time I had to make an extra stop before heading to my magical place. You see, I didn't just want Toko to try to kill me. With Toko, I wanted something more. I wanted her to spend some time with her real self. I wanted her to see her have that same realizations that I have had. What that meant, obviously, was putting her in the same position I was in a year ago. I needed to trap her in a room with someone else, give them both weapons, and see what happened. So I kidnapped Sal, a mediocre lay from 4 months ago I'd been meaning to target for a while. She lived alone in an apartment with her basic locks. It was trivial to break in, trank her while she was asleep, and stuff her into a second duffel bag. I tossed her into the trunk of the car next to Toko's bag, and started the lengthy drive to my magical place. I had a small backpack at the ready to carry the 2 knives and the wireless camera I'd bought earlier that day. The camera used a Bluetooth connection to stream footage to my phone, which I needed if I wanted to watch Toko and Sal from outside the room. I knew how I wanted the evening to go down, but it was important to me that things happen organically. I had to allow for the possibility that things wouldn't turn out the way I necessarily wanted them to. As such, I saw 4 possible outcomes. Number 1, Sal lives, Toko dies, worst case scenario. I wanted to see Toko's inner self, and I had very little interest in Sal. If this happened, I'd walk in and shoot Sal in the head, bury both corpses, and that'd be that. Number 2, the two girls would kill each other. Not ideal, but I'd enjoy watching this, and I'd at least get a glimpse of the true Toko. Number 3, Sal dies, but Toko doesn't kill her. I don't know how this would happen exactly, but if it did, I'd just trank Toko and she'd wake up 8 hours later next to another girl. If at first you don't succeed. Number 4, Toko kills Sal. This is how I would hoped things would turn out. I'd get to see Toko at her most beautiful, her most human, her most free. Then afterwards, I'd kill her myself. That was the plan, anyway. What are you gonna do? Look, I've answered all your questions so far. How about you answer some of mine? Okay. And that is the memory end. So, with that out of the way, I do believe, yes, we have unlocked the end game. So let's take a look at the event gallery and just click on memory here. Ellipses, ellipses, ellipses. Not much to say about that. Let's go back to the main menu. Okay, so this was a pretty brief show. I'm going to cut it off here. I'm going to save the end game for the next video. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching as usual. This is Poncho Smith signing off. You have a lovely night.